In this video, you will learn how to multiply polynomials, specifically multiplying a binomial by a binomial using FOIL method. Before we have some examples, let me first present what FOIL stands for. For FOIL method, F stands for first, O for outer, I for inner, and L for last. Given this first expression, the quantity of 2x minus 3 times the quantity of 3x plus 4, first is to identify the first terms in each quantity, and these are positive 2x and positive 3x. Multiply them together, and it will give us positive 6x squared. O for outer means outer terms in the given expression, and these are positive 2x and positive 4. When multiplied together, it would give us positive 8x. I is for inner, and the inner terms here are negative 3 and positive 3x. When multiplied together, it would give us negative 9x. And L stands for last, and the last terms here are negative 3 and positive 4, which when multiplied together is negative 12. After applying the FOIL method, check if there are any like terms. And we have here positive 8x and negative 9x that are like terms or similar terms. So when we combine them, it would give us negative 1x, and this would now be our expression. For the final answer, we no longer write 1 as the numerical coefficient, so the final answer is 6x squared minus x minus 12. Always make sure that the final answer is expressed in a proper order, such that the terms are arranged in descending powers. Let us have another example. Let's say we are to multiply the quantity of 5x plus 1 and the quantity of 8y minus 2. Start with the first terms, and these are positive 5x and positive 8y, which when multiplied together is 40xy. O is for outer, and the outer terms here are positive 5x and negative 2. When multiplied together, it would give us negative 10x. I stands for inner, and the inner terms here are positive 1 and positive 8y. When multiplied together, it would give us positive 8y. And L stands for last, and the last terms here are positive 1 and negative 2, which when multiplied together is equal to negative 2. For the final answer, check if there are any like terms. In this case, we don't have any like terms, so this is now the final answer. And that's how you multiply a binomial by another binomial using FOIL method. Now let's proceed with special products. Let's start with the square of a binomial. There are 3 simple steps that you're going to follow in squaring a binomial. Let us apply the first step in this given expression. It says here that step 1 is to square the first term. The first term in the given is 3y. So when you say square the first term, it means 3y and then square. So we are supposed to square the entire first term. Next, step 2 is get twice the product of the first and the second term. So we're going to get twice of the product of the first and the second term. Now for step 3, it says that you are to square the second term. The second term in this given is positive 2. So we're going to square positive 2. Now let us simplify the given expression. The square of 3y would give us 9y squared plus the product of twice the first and the second term would give us 2 times 3y is 6y times 2 is positive 12y. And lastly, the square of the second term would give us positive 4. And this is now the final answer. In squaring a binomial, the given expression can be written in an expanded form, such as this one. We have here the quantity of 4x plus 5 times the quantity of 4x plus 5. It can also be written this way in exponential form, so we have 4x plus 5 and then square, or the square of the quantity 4x plus 5. These two are just equal. Now let us apply the steps. Step 1 is to square the first term. The first term in the given expression is 4x, so we're going to get the square of 4x. Step 2 is get twice the product of the first and the second. And the third step is to square the second term. Now let's simplify. 4x squared or the square of 4x, would give us 16x squared. Twice the product of the first and the second term would give us 2 times 4x is 8x times 5 is 40x. And for the last term, the square root of 5 is simply 25. And this would be the final answer. In these two given expressions, you could still use the FOIL method since you are still multiplying a binomial by another binomial. But if you have this kind of form, which is the square of a binomial, you could simply use these three simple steps. Next, let's proceed with another type of special product, which is the product of the sum and difference of two terms. For this type, you can get the answer by multiplying the first terms plus multiplying the last terms. Let's say, for example, we have this given. Unlike the square of a binomial, these two binomials have opposite signs in their last terms. We have the quantity of 9x minus 10 times the quantity of 9x plus 10. You could still use the FOIL method here since you are multiplying a binomial by another binomial, but since this is special product, there is a shortcut method or an easier way on how we can get the final answer. So first is to multiply the first terms. 9x times 9x would give us 81x squared plus multiply the last terms. Negative 10 and positive 10 would give us negative 100. Simplify your final answer and we have 81x squared minus 100. And this should be the final answer. Next given, we have the quantity of 4y plus x times the quantity of 4y minus x. For the steps, first is to multiply the first terms. So we have 4y times another 4y, which is 16y squared, plus positive 6 times negative 6 would give us negative 36. Simplify your final answer and we have 16y squared minus 36. And that's how you get the product of the sum and difference of two terms.